question for the whānau, I've got to get rid of the dog now because we're talking about business. When we talk about business, it's business time. When it's business time, there's no dog. Is this the only photo New Zealand has of Kash Patel? Like, is this the only photo? Because you go to One News and the story tonight, it's the same photo. You go to the actual news
from the Associated Press.
There's the news item, and the background is the same photo. Let's have a look at the story. It's very quick. It's only about 60 seconds as to what's happened with Kash Patel. Remember, one of the leading lawmakers, not lawmakers, but law enforcers, one of the people at the pointy end of making sure people don't break the law in America.
It's been revealed the FBI Director gifted Kiwi officials 3D printed guns, which are illegal to possess here. Kash Patel was in the country in July to open the FBI's first standalone office in New Zealand. Police Commissioner Richard Chambers says he and other officials were given inoperable plastic 3D printed replica pistols. But analysis from the Firearms Safety Authority and Police Armoury found that modifications could have made the guns operational. They've now been destroyed.
So the leader of the FBI, the director of the FBI, came to New Zealand, a place, especially with handguns, that is pretty much doesn't have them. It's still a bit of a shock when you see a police officer, for me at least, with one on their hip. Pretty much they're not really around. And thought, I know what, I'll take that little country at the bottom of the world. Some handguns. Now, can I just also say, even if they were legal, even if you were allowed them, what the fuck are you doing giving a handgun as a gift, a mock handgun as a gift? What are you trying to say other than, oh, by the way, speaking of red flags, all we care about is guns in this country. I've got something else I want to say on the back of it because I'm going to give him one piece of grace, which is he is dealing with the government who was okay with breaking the law anyway. So maybe he just went, I'm okay to give them something illegal. But your first thoughts, Paul?
Well, my first thoughts are, to be fair, if you're going to a foreign country as a dignitary and you want to give them something from your country that says this is from us, we might do something like give a taonga made of pounamu. They give guns because that's how American they are.
My gosh, it's shocking, isn't it? But as I said, I mean, if I was going to try and give him a little bit of grace, which I don't really feel like doing, but if I was going to, I might say he probably heard that this government is okay with breaking laws when they're trying to enforce laws. So we were singing this from the rooftops last year, that whether you agree or disagree with the idea about gang insignia in public, there is a human rights issue here. And that human rights issue is people have the right to present themselves in a way that works with maybe it's their culture, maybe it's their family. Freedom of expression is something we have here. So this has finally been tested, and the man's conviction for wearing a cap with gang insignia infringed on his human rights, court told. Now, this is not a conversation around whether you think gangs are good, bad, or indifferent. This is a conversation about the law. It's a little bit like the free speech conversation. We only need free speech to protect the worst speech. Because if we all say lovely things to each other, doesn't need to be protected. The only reason to protect speech is if it's speech that we hate and don't want to hear. So we can have this conversation around the laws that have been broken here without therefore going, oh, we support everything the gangs do. This is about the law. The High Court in Wellington has heard that a man's conviction for wearing gang insignia is an infringement on his human rights. Really? Nobody saw that coming. Mana Brown, 19, was prosecuted last year under the Gangs Act 2024 after being spotted on CCTV cameras in the Hutt Valley wearing a cap that included the word nomad. Counsel for Brown, Chris Nichols, told the court he did not dispute the conviction, but was seeking a declaration that the prohibition of gang insignia was inconsistent with the Bill of Rights Act and the government's international commitments to uphold human rights. Gang insignia law challenged. Nichols said Brown was a third generation of a family deeply tied to that gang. I understand that I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek when I'm saying maybe Kash Patel knew that this government broke the laws anyway. But the reality is this government is passing legislation that is illegal. That is deemed a breach of human rights. When you breach human rights, that is illegal. So, yeah, that's kind of the ridiculously tacit connection I'm putting in there between the two. But it was the point being made that I wanted to mention how we all saw this coming, but this government wanted to sell the idea of tough on crime, tough on the gangs, whilst gang numbers are going up and you're losing court cases based on your illegal laws. And I just thought, maybe it's time. You know, I don't like being one of those, I told you so people, but sometimes it might be appropriate for a few people out there to hear, yeah, we saw this coming. You know,
what you need to do though is a supercut, because coming into next year with the election, there are going to be a lot of people who suddenly have this blind spot of, what do you mean, you know, Kash Patel came in with guns? What do you mean that the government broke the law around freedom of speech? What do you mean pay wave surcharges led to the increase of cost of everything else? They're going to need reminding constantly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, look at that. Gareth just ordered a t-shirt. My watch just told me. Good on you, Gareth. Very, very good, Peter. Cash converters. Hat tip.
Yes.
We bow to you. Converting the guns, Mr. We bow to your comedic brilliance.